Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you are a gamer, you might have noticed that it's practically raining controllers these days. In today's market, you can get a feature-packed controller at a very reasonable price without spending over $100. Even well-known premium brands are facing stiff competition from this new wave of controllers. In today's review, I will be reviewing such a controller, the GameSir Super Nova, which is a multi-platform controller that promises to provide good performance, amazing features, and customization at a reasonable price. This controller is available under $50 on Amazon and the GameSir website. If you are interested, you can check out the links in the description. It's compatible with PC, Nintendo Switch, Android, and iOS. This controller supports Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz wireless and wired connectivity, swappable ABXY buttons, Hall effect sticks, and Hall effect adjustable triggers. It also has additional macro buttons at the back and turbo function. Now let's open the box of this controller and inspect its build quality, experience its features, test its performance, and play some games with it. This controller comes with its own charging dock, which is built by good quality materials. It has a USB-A and USB-C port. The USB-A port is for the 2.4 GHz wireless dongle. Underneath, the whole base of this charging dock is made of rubber. Inside the box, you will find documentation related to this controller, which includes a QC card, a GameSir sticker, an app card, and the user manual. You will get a 2.4 GHz wireless dongle, which can be connected directly to your computer, or you can connect it to the charging dock and connect the charging dock to the PC. You will get a reasonably lengthed cable. It's not braided, but its quality is not bad. I also got these two additional faceplates for this controller, which are not included in the box. You will have to buy them separately. And finally in the box, you will find the controller itself. I got this controller in blue color. You can also get it in pink as well. I'm really impressed by the first impression that this controller has made on me. It feels really nice in hands, and the rubber grips really make it feel premium. The controller build quality is amazing, and there is no rattling sound coming from it. It has some weight to it, but in a good way. And its dimensions are comparable with an Xbox X controller. It has a plus D-pad, which is membrane based. On this controller, they have mostly focused on membrane buttons. So if you are not a fan of clicking sounds, you will like this D-pad. This controller has Hall effect joysticks for accuracy and longevity, which are anti-drift and are surrounded by anti-friction rings. The thumb grips are made of some rubber-like material. The overall feeling of the joysticks is good and they feel comfortable on the thumbs. This controller has swappable, membrane-based buttons. I guess GameSir has specially designed this controller for people who like membrane buttons. And these buttons feel comfortable on the thumb. So if you are someone who gets annoyed by the clicking sounds of micro switches, this controller can be a good option for you. And the other face buttons include the plus button, the home button, the screenshot button, and the minus button. And down here is the M button. This controller has some decent looking RGB lights, which are adjustable, and I am glad that they have not overdone it. On the back side, you will find two extra programmable macro buttons, a sliding switch for choosing the mode of connectivity, and two other switches for adjusting the triggers. You can adjust the travel distance of these Hall effect triggers by using these switches. You can choose a shorter travel mode or a longer travel mode according to the game that you are playing. You can also use the hair trigger mode of this controller by pressing M along with the left trigger or right trigger. You can easily remove the faceplate of this controller I'm not sure whether these thumbsticks can be replaced or swapped out with some other ones. But one thing I am sure about is that you can remove and replace the ABXY buttons, and you can also interchange their positions. And you can swap out the stock faceplate with different colored faceplates available on the GameSir website. These plates are magnetic and they fit quite firmly. The only thing I didn't like were the shoulder buttons. They felt a little bit flimsy. For using the charging dock of this controller, I plugged in the 2.4 GHz wireless dongle into the charging dock, and I connected the charging dock to the PC using the USB cable. In addition to this, you can just directly plug in the dongle into the USB port as well. This charging dock has a smart charging system. Whenever you place the controller onto the charging dock, it will start charging. And when you pick it up, if the controller is connected with the PC, it will automatically turn on. This controller has dual grip vibration, which is pretty strong, and you can adjust it to different levels with the help of M along with the plus or minus button. You can also adjust the RGB settings using the joystick and D-pad along with the M button. Using the turbo function on this controller is very easy. Just press M along with the button that you want to use turbo for, and that's it. The turbo function will be on. And the blinking red light shows that the turbo function for that button is on. If you want to turn off the turbo function, repeat the same step again. A green light will indicate that the turbo function is off. By using different combinations of buttons along with the M button, you can adjust the settings of this controller, map different buttons, or swap the ABXY buttons and many other settings. In addition to this, you can use the GameSir app to change and customize settings of this controller. I tested the wireless and wired polling rate and latency of this controller using the X input software. For the wireless mode, the latency was 0.9 milliseconds and the polling rate was 1055 Hz. So this controller performed amazing in this test. And these numbers make it a fast controller, at least on paper. And the latency for the wired mode was also 0.9 milliseconds and the polling rate was 1053 Hz. The X input software might not be 100% accurate, but it will give you a rough idea about the polling rate and latency of the controller. This controller has no drift and you can adjust the dead zone to 0. They are very responsive and I am not noticing any lag. You can also adjust the sensitivity of these joysticks in the software. And there was an error of only 0.2% when I performed the circularity test. You can choose the circular mode or the square mode for joysticks in the GameSir Connect software. The presses on the D-pad were also accurate and it responded as it should. And I did not notice any visual latency when I pressed the ABXY buttons. For taking the advantage of all of the features of this controller and adjusting its settings easily, I highly recommend downloading the GameSir Connect software. When you open the GameSir Connect software, you are welcomed by this summary page of the controller's settings. Here you can see all the details of settings of this controller. For example, what are the settings of the lights, the triggers, the joysticks, what are the settings for the gyroscope, and the button configuration. From this page, you can change the basic settings of this controller without going into deep settings. In this software, you can easily remap and reprogram buttons of this controller. You can adjust the dead zone and anti-dead zone of the joysticks and also adjust the curve along with the stick trajectory. You can adjust various settings of the gyroscope. In the same way, you can adjust the triggers, the lights of the controller, and upgrade the firmware. Now in this part of the video, I will be playing different games to show you the actual performance of this controller. I have noticed that most of the people skip this part. Anyways, I like to share the actual gameplay for people who want to see the performance of this controller while playing games. If you don't like the noisy clicking of micro switches, a membrane controller is the best option for you. And I have noticed that membrane controllers while playing fighting games feel much better on the fingers. While playing the game, the only noisy part of this controller are the shoulder buttons. They are a bit rattly. I have noticed that. But I am satisfied by the overall performance of this controller while playing Tekken 8. All the button presses feel accurate, the D-pad is working like a charm, and I did not notice any latency. So if you want to buy a controller for playing fighting games, this controller will do the job. Now let's see the performance of this controller while playing Forza Horizon 5. I did adjust the triggers and joysticks for this game in the GameSir software, and I am using the long travel mode of the trigger. I am noticing no lag, no latency, and the handling is amazing. I am able to drift and keep control on the car's acceleration and steering. And when accelerating, I really miss the vibration features in the trigger. But the overall performance of this controller while playing Forza Horizon 5 is satisfactory. And now I will show you the performance of this controller while playing Halo. For this game, I will be using the short travel mode of the trigger. While playing this game, this controller performed well. There was no lag being noticed, no visual latency or something like that. The grip is very comfortable. The thumbsticks feel really nice. They are soft on the thumbs, and I assume I can play for a longer time with these thumbsticks. The vibration was okay as well. But one thing I will have to mention here is that I really miss the micro switch trigger while playing this game. But anyways, the Hall effect triggers are doing their job as well. So it comes down to personal preference. And now I will show you the performance of this controller while playing Tomb Raider, which is basically a platforming game. There was no miss button presses, the jumps were accurate. I did not have to press multiple times to get a button to register for a jump, and I could play confidently. And the overall performance of this controller while playing Tomb Raider was amazing as well. So I can recommend this controller for playing platforming games as well. And this was all about today's review of the GameSir Super Nova gaming controller. I tried to review this controller in a simple and brief way, and I will leave it up to you to decide whether this controller is good for you or not. If you have questions regarding this controller, you can ask me in the comments section. If you liked this video, a thumbs up will be really appreciated. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Till next time, have a good one.